Welcome to the NNBN podcast, talking with businesses, charities and organisations across Northamptonshire.
Sponsored by Poppy Design Studio. Find us at poppydesignstudio.com.
So welcome to the first podcast of 2024. I hope you're well. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas break as well. And of course, Happy New Year to you. And let's make the magic happen this year as we go through the year, as we go forward. I can't wait for it. It's going to be exciting on this end. We've got loads planned and loads going on as always. And of course, you can keep up to date with everything going on at nnbn.co.uk. Now, I have changed the structure of the podcast slightly and reduced down the number of guests actually, so that we can actually have more of a quality conversation with guests. And you'll hear from today's guest that we'll be talking all about testimonials. So here we go. It's my first guest of 2024, the new year. And what a guest I got lined up today. And it's Shehnaaz Latif from, Shehnaaz, do you want to give yourself an introduction and tell us what you do and tell us why we should get out there?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Simon. I'm absolutely delighted to be your first guest of 2024. It's going to be an amazing year, I'm pretty sure. So my gift, I guess, in the form of a business is to other small businesses and large businesses, size business really, is to have the opportunity to grow your skills, your knowledge, your confidence, so that you can tell others out there about the brilliant work that you do. So my business is called T.O.O.T Services, and that's the acronym, Tell Others Out There. And really it's an opportunity, as I say, to kind of grow your skills and knowledge and confidence, because I think what happens is we spend a lot of time and money on marketing, and actually we are the best salespeople of our businesses. You know, that whole know, like and trust thing, it happens when you're able to tell stories about the work that you do and the difference it makes. But more powerfully than that, when your customers and your clients can tell those stories authentically, genuinely, in their own voices, I think that's when it becomes absolutely magical, right? That the work that you do speaks for itself. So that's what I'm here to do, to help people to listen to their clients, get the stories from them in a painless way. And really, I love listening to stories and I love gathering them, but I also love teaching people how to do that for themselves.
Yeah, brilliant. And obviously we're here on the podcast, and people listen to the podcast and listen to storytelling. So we're going to find a little bit about you today, but also a little bit about why you're doing what you're doing. But talk to me about T.O.O.T. I mean, obviously, tell others out there. I think it's a fantastic name that you've got there, and how you've made it from the acronym and everything. How did you come up with the idea?
So, Simon, I've been in the UK charity sector for 20 years now, and my role really was to help people kind of gather data of the impact that their work makes. Now, don't get me started on impact. That's a whole session on itself. But it's this idea that we do the work that we do to make a positive difference. Right. Well, what is that positive difference? It could be a product that revolutionizes someone's life. It could be a service that we give them that really transforms the way they do their work. It could be that we offer coaching, and then there's personal transformation or personal development. All of these are bits of data waiting to be given by our clients to us. And what we forget to do is ask the right questions at the right time, in the right way, and incentivize people to tell us the story as it's happening. I mean, in another life, I guess I'd be a live journalist, as it were, where, you get the story as it unfolds. And so because I've done that with charities, and they need to get that data because they need to obviously fundraise, they need to show the public that they are working for the good of all. I thought I'd turn this into a service that would actually appeal to businesses of all sizes, as well as charities, social enterprises, community interest companies, whoever is in the business of making a positive difference. That's who I want to help to share their stories, right? So the idea, I suppose, was just a natural culmination of years of experience, and also, and I am going to toot for my own self now, being told that what I do is really good, that I help people to get that story out, but I also get them to craft it in a way that means there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. And also growing people's confidence, because sometimes we're shy, we're very sort of polite, we keep our lights kind of low, we don't necessarily always blow our own trumpet. So I just want to get people to get used to that and become a lot more proud of the work that they're doing in a humble way, in a kind of kind way. But yeah, if you don't tell people what you do and the difference it makes, how do they know to buy your services or get your products?
Yeah, because everyone's got a story to tell, haven't they? I mean, the thing is, we grow up as children from, these nursery schools and primary schools, and we all buy into stories from day one, but we don't necessarily tell the stories really with our own businesses and everything. And that's where you can fit in and help people to advise, how to maximise that.
Absolutely. And I think this, when people hear the word story, they think it's sometimes fictional, right? Now, these are fact-based stories. And of course, it's about testimonial gathering. It's about the social proof. It's about getting reviews. It's about getting feedback. And again, I want to help people, and you've been on the workshop, Simon, I want people to understand what is the difference between feedback, recommendations, reviews, testimonials, case studies. Like, what are all of these things? And actually, when it comes to testimonials, that takes a little bit of time. A true testimonial for me has ups and downs, but it is then ultimately a story with a happy ending.
Yeah, you mentioned the workshop. I mean, I sat the workshop just before Christmas, and I found it really, really intriguing. I was a little bit like, what am I actually going to learn today? Because I kind of think I know what I'm doing. But then when you actually sit there and actually break it down, actually hear what you were saying, you actually think, actually, you don't know it all. So I found it very valuable. Yes. I found it really, really intriguing as well. But also, it's given me a new way of thinking coming into the new year now to look at how we collect information and collect the testimonials and convert those into positive storytelling. And I think it was a brilliant workshop to do, and I think anybody that's listening, do have a look at Shehnaaz's website. We'll come on to that very shortly, but do have a look at the workshops that you do run, because I think it's quite critical to take the time out of the business, but also to reinvent some of the material that you could be doing inside your business.
Absolutely. And look, you have as most of us do, a specific percentage that we want to spend on marketing. I want to know how that's being used, right? So we go to network meetings, and NNBN is more than networking, but one of the things you offer is for us to all gather in a room. So that's part of what I would put down in my books as, I'm going out there to talk about my business. Well, in order to have those stories to tell at those meetings, for example, what if I could identify 3 or 4 people that I've worked with over a period of time, and actually say, this is the difference that my work has made to them over a period of time. So it's not just, oh, you got the service. So I did ask you when you came to the workshop, straight away, I asked you for feedback, right? You filled in an online feedback form. Great. But it's been a few weeks, and you've said you actually might try and use some of the techniques in the new year. Well, if I was to follow you up, which I should in a couple of months from now, and say, right, Simon, so what have you done differently? Great. This is what you've done differently. This is where you got stuck. So it offers me an opportunity to touch in with you, but also to see the lasting effects of the work that I've done. And then 6 months from now, or a year from now, where your testimonials are flowing through, you don't even have to kind of, nudge people or approach them several times or chase them or whatever it is. They're just coming to you. That would be a game changer, right? Because we know the best way that services and products get sold is through word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth. It's critical, isn't it? I mean, we hear it's the most powerful way of generating business and everything, and it is. And obviously testimonials and testimonial gathering can add so much value that way. And I think, I think the one thing I took away from the workshop as well was the fact that, do we see testimonials as an investment in our businesses and in our marketing? And we should. And I think, that was one of the big, one of the gifts from yourself. I shouldn't say it was a takeaway from me. I'll say it was a gift from yourself. But it was absolutely brilliant. Words of wisdom there, without a doubt.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Well, I was doing those workshops last year on a bit of a trial basis at Vulcan Works in Northampton, which I absolutely love. Love the space, love the vibe. Everything, the cost of the room is reasonable, all of that. And you've got the central location and so on. I'm going to do things a bit differently this year. I do absolutely want to still run in-person workshops. I think you can't get a full feel for one another, and there's a lot of lovely exchange and interaction when you're in a room with one another and you have each other's energies to kind of vibe off. So I will do some of those by request, and I'll probably do a few taster sessions and so on, but I'm also inviting people to come on to these workshops online, so it then doesn't mean a huge chunk of your day. It wasn't a huge chunk anyway, it was a couple of hours, but if people prefer to get it done or have a few of their colleagues online, and you can actually do this over Zoom as well, which I've done in the past. So there's opportunities to take these workshops online or in person. But also, Simon, let's be realistic. Some people will learn about it and go, yeah, no, I don't want to do this. Can you do it for me? And I would love to do that too.
So when you say do it for you, you'll actually work with clients to help gather testimonials from their clients?
Yes. So what if we sat together and we said, what is it that you want to know? What do you want? Not what do you want people to say exactly, but a little bit of that. Because what I find is that people know what they want their clients to comment on, but they just go, can you give me a testimonial? Now, if you and I are faced with a blank sheet of paper, I don't know about you, but I kind of go, oh no, I don't know what to. So actually, if I can sit down with a business, get to know them in a bit of a discovery call and kind of go, okay, what are the key things you want to know about? Well, then let's ask key questions. And if I ask those questions from your customers, with your permission, with their permission, what I would do is hold a Zoom space open, do a sort of mini interview, as it were, and then get that story and then play it back to you in a way that you can use either anonymously as a whole story, or you'll get little quotes from there, so you can put that on your website, on your LinkedIn posts and so on. So I'm providing that independence by gathering the story. When you do those kind of Trustpilot reviews or whatever, that looks more, people trust those a bit more, Trustpilot, because it's been done by another party. So I'm the other party. The difference here is that I actually have an interaction with your client. So it's one up from the kind of online Trustpilot or Amazon review or whatever. I actually get to speak to clients directly, and then I bring you their story back, and then you make of it what you will. So I've been working in this area, as I say, for 20 years as an evaluator. I collect data all the time, and my reputation, well, you can see it for yourself on my LinkedIn reviews, because of course I have to collect my own reviews. That's the done for you service, where I actually get the data. You pay me to do that, and then I bring your stories back to you from your clients to use the way you wish.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your own reviews, because obviously sometimes we're too close to our own businesses, aren't we? We're not so much too close, but we're more focused on our clients and people that we're looking to work with rather than our own businesses. Yes. But it's fantastic to hear that you're actually collecting your own via LinkedIn, because I think it is critical that people actually understand more about testimonials, reviews, etc., when they're actually looking to engage someone's services. So it's good to hear that you're doing it as well. And I suppose that's the key for people out there that aren't doing this. This is why they should do it. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, if a recommendation is different to a testimonial, and LinkedIn in particular, and I'm not being paid to say this, but LinkedIn in particular is where a lot of my business comes from, because it is social, so you can show your personality, and it's quite professional as well. So when I ask for my recommendations, and you'll have to come to one of my free workshops to see the gift I give there, but I actually get people to ask key questions. So again, it's all about the questions. It's not just, hi, can you write me a recommendation? What are they going to write it on? It's down to what I want them to focus on when they give me the recommendation. So if you do go and have a look at my LinkedIn profile and look at the recommendations I've had, you'll be able to pick out, and we did this in the workshop, you'll be able to pick out key words and phrases, because I asked specific questions to get a structure in my recommendations. And that's, again, the skill, the knowledge I want to share with everybody, so that you get things that are on point and really do justice to what it is that you want people to see about the work that you do.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, here's a killer question. Why do businesses, do you think, don't collect testimonials?
Ooh, yes. Okay, well, look, I do put up some of the barriers, and I've got a free guide actually that talks about some of these. I think there's a couple of things. Time and timing is one of them, because we think, oh, yeah, I'll get to it. It's one of those things that slips down the list. And so we don't make the time, we don't find the time. When we do have the time, we kind of go, oh, it's one of those things, I've got to start a new transaction with this client because they've had my service or they've used my product. Now I'm going to ask them for something else. So I think we have a little bit of a ickiness to that, which is, right, I'm asking for more stuff now from my client. And I often say, actually, this is not a favor that your clients are doing. It's an opportunity for them to share their story. We all love to talk about ourselves. We all love to talk about the journeys we've been on, actually. So finding the opportunity, finding the time, and it's about timing. So if I ask for a testimonial the minute I've done a piece of work with someone, yes, I'll get some feedback, but will I really get the testimonial? Will I really get the things that have bedded in? No, I have to give it some time. Now, it could be different for different people. It depends on your service. But for you, Simon, if I've been a member of NNBN for a few months, great. If I've been a member for a few years, wow, now that's a testimonial waiting to be written. But that requires you to have a system in place that says every 3 months, every 6 months, I'm going to touch in with my members and I'm going to see where they're at. And guess what? The testimonial just writes itself. So I think what stands in the way is that we don't have a system. And so I'm here to help get that system in place that works for you. I'm not saying there's a right way. I'm saying there's your way, and every business has its own rhythm, its own realities, its own resources. I'll work with that. I've worked with plenty charities and corporates and foundations over the years to know that one size doesn't fit all. So let's find the system that works for you. And then I think it becomes a lot easier to ask and maybe even incentivize people to give you a true, authentic, genuine testimonial in their own voice.
Yeah, and I love what you just said there. You said about, obviously, well, firstly, let me say you're absolutely right. People supply a product or a service and they're kind of like, oh, I've got to ask for more. It's a bit nerve-wracking. And so I totally agree with that point. I think it can be, people get carried away or want to move on to the next customer or next opportunity or whatever. But I love what you said there. It's actually an opportunity for the customer to share their story because, I think a lot of people do get put off by saying, oh, here we go again, being asked for more or they're frightened to ask for more. So I think that's that's where you got this professional expertise and this knowledge, haven't you? Because you're obviously saying, putting it a different way, and I think it's brilliant what you just said there.
And also, what happens, Simon, if someone's got something to say that's less than positive or a bit critical or something that as a business owner you could learn from? That's again what happens, right? Is that our clients feel, well, maybe they're grateful, maybe they don't want to upset us, maybe they're just being too polite, and they think, well, I just can't tell them the actual truth. So we've got to find ways to liberate people to really just tell the story, warts and all. And again, that might mean having anonymous ways to contribute. It might mean getting somebody like myself independently to do that. And I have, by the way, it's not just me, I have a network of associates around me who have been doing this kind of work as well. And they're jumping onto the two bandwagon, as it were, to learn the system and also be able to do that. So we can always find somebody who perhaps understands your industry a bit more. So I've got generalist expertise in lots of different areas, but there may be someone who, works in the legal services. Well, then I've got somebody who's worked for the Law Society who'd be the person who actually asks those questions. So it's about meeting you where you are. It's about matching to the business needs and services that you give or products that you provide. And then it's about asking the right questions, as I say, at the right time and in the right format, so that it feels really easy and, dare I say it, even enjoyable to both give and gather testimonials.
Yeah, brilliant. And you mentioned earlier, you said about the workshops and that you've been doing. I mean, the one I attended at Vulcan Works, you're right, fantastic location, great place to come and engage with what you were doing as well. But what sort of workshops have you got lined up for this year, and how can people find out more about it?
Thank you so much. So I've got a few things on offer. One is that every Friday at 1 o'clock for 30 minutes, it's a free Zoom where we connect and celebrate. So one of the things that, again, I feel we're not used to doing is just going, woo, this is what I managed to do this week, however big, however small. And I always give a little nugget at the end of the 30 minutes, which might be a question for LinkedIn recommendations or whatever it is, whatever I feel inspired to share that week. So that's always there, and people can register for that so that it pops into your diary every Friday, like I say, 1 o'clock for 30 minutes. So that way you connect to different businesses. You also get to celebrate your successes. And that is about telling others out there, just getting practiced at sharing what it is that I do and how well I've been doing. Yeah, because we get very shy about singing our own praises. And so I like to do that. That's one thing. The second thing is to have a 1 hour, again, it's a free workshop. Well, I say workshop, it's sort of it's a 1 hour, get to know a little bit about me, understand a little bit about what the business is about, try out some of the techniques I've been talking about, and understand some of the barriers that we've just started to speak about. So they're happening periodically through the year. And then there is the workshop itself that you've been part of, where you can really get into depth and start getting that system in place so that you or colleagues that you're working with can really start to get those testimonials flowing in. And those will be all the workshops actually this year are going to be online by request. If people want me to come in, say there's a group of businesses or the marketing department want to have the workshop delivered to them, then we will bespoke that and we'll work out the prices that way. So those are the offers that I have. And there's always the free guide that you can download as well. Everything should be on my website.
Brilliant. And the website is, we should really give that out, shouldn't we? So what's your website, Shehnaaz?
So it's tootservices.co.uk. So T.O.O.T services.co.uk. And that's where, if people just want to have a quick discovery call or they want to have the services done for them, we've also got our testimonial gathering packages further down, so you can actually see. And of course, right at the bottom, we've got some of our testimonials as well. So you can see all of that when you visit.
Brilliant. So tootservices.co.uk is the website. Have a look on there. You can contact Shehnaaz that way as well, or they can search for you on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So just as myself, I'm Shehnaaz Latif, but also we do have a T.O.O.T Services Limited LinkedIn group. So that is slowly growing and getting people in there to just talk about testimonial gathering. Also, you get reminded when the Connect and Celebrate is happening every Friday, and little tidbits. I'd like to grow that group so that people can ask questions. But I just want to say, this is not one of those 24/7, 365 days of the year. The rhythm of this has to work for your business. So I don't want to spam you, don't want to inundate people. I don't want to go, look, you have to do this now. Your business is failing if it isn't, and all of that. No, this is gentle, encouraging, kindly to get those stories of the difference that your work makes. That it makes a difference. Otherwise, you wouldn't carry on doing it. I'm just asking to help you to get those stories out there at a pace that works for you.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us on the podcast. I said you were the first Well, you are the first guest of 2024. I suppose the final question I've got for you, what can we expect to see this year from yourself and from T.O.O.T Services in 2024? Have you set any goals or any targets or anything exciting coming up that you want to share as well?
Yeah, I'd love to share the fact that I really believe that giving is getting. That's not my phrase, by the way. I've stolen it from somewhere. But what I'd also like to say is that part of my purpose is to support, local businesses through the service that I'm providing, but also in a way that is charitable, that aligns with my values. So I'm actually going to be looking out into the landscape of Northamptonshire. And I know we have a number of amazing charities that do brilliant work. And I'd love to make sure that whenever I'm gaining income from the service I'm providing, that I get to support charities as well, because that is, for me, a virtuous circle, right? We give, we get, we give, we get. So I'm going to be online running workshops, some of which are free, some of which are paid for. I'm going to be doing it for you if you need that. I'm going to host these Connect and Celebrate every Friday, and I'm going to make sure that I support through T.O.O.T Services charitable causes that make a difference. Last year, this year, 2023 rather, I supported My Time Young Carers, who are not inside the county, but a charity that's quite dear to my heart, and there will be others. So yeah, I'd like to make sure that the circle is complete with supporting local charities.
Brilliant. Well done on having that on your radar this year, and of course we're here to help market and promote those for you as well. Help us share that message that obviously where you're focusing on your clients and doing your own bit of marketing, we can actually add value and push that out there as well. So do keep us up to date on all those workshops and everything that you're doing within the business, and best wishes for the new year, and let's make it a successful one.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Simon, and thanks always for your support and for really cheerleading the business and for attending the workshops. I really, really value yours and NNBN support. Thanks so much.